What if the most destructive chain reaction in modern history never began? June 28, 1914. A single spark in Sarajevo ignites a global inferno. But imagine a world where the fuse was never lit. No trenches, no lost generation, no World War II, no Cold War, no nuclear age. How could one moment's absence rewrite the entire story of the 20th century? To understand how, we must return to that fragile summer. Europe in 1914 was a continent of empires, a web of intricate alliances, simmering nationalist ambitions, and intense industrial competition. The air was thick with tension. The triple entente of Britain, France, and Russia stood against the triple alliance of Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy, a delicate balance of power held together by diplomacy and fear. Textbooks often portray the Great War as inevitable, a catastrophe waiting to happen. But this is a simplification. History is not a script. It is a series of choices and chances. Our point of divergence is deceptively simple. Perhaps the driver of Archduke Franz Ferdinand's car takes a different turn in Sarajevo, avoiding the fateful corner where Gavrilo Princip waits. Or maybe the assassin's plot is discovered and foiled hours before it can unfold. The Archduke and his wife return to Vienna unharmed. The July crisis, the frantic diplomatic scramble that pushed Europe over the edge, simply evaporates. Without the ultimatum to Serbia, the blank check from Germany to Austria-Hungary goes uncashed. The complex machinery of mobilization and counter-mobilization never starts its unstoppable grind. The lights do not go out over Europe. Instead, a tense summer gives way to an anxious autumn. The old world holds its breath and then carries on. Without the cataclysm of the Great War, the great empires of the early 20th century don't shatter, they evolve. The Austro-Hungarian Empire, long seen as a creaking and multi-ethnic relic, now has time. Under a reform-minded Emperor Franz Ferdinand, who eventually succeeds Franz Joseph, the empire might have transformed into a federalized state, a United States of Greater Austria, granting more autonomy to its diverse peoples and diffusing nationalist tensions. It wouldn't be a perfect solution, but it would be a political one, not a military one. In Germany, the Kaiser's Reich continues its ascent as Europe's industrial powerhouse. Without the trauma of defeat and the humiliation of Versailles, the path toward a more democratic, constitutional monarchy remains open. Political power would likely continue its slow shift from the Kaiser to the Reichstag. Germany remains a dominant force, but its ambitions are channeled into economic competition and colonial influence, not revanchist fury. And what of the Russian bear? The Romanov dynasty was on shaky ground, but the strains of total war were what ultimately broke it. Without the devastating losses on the Eastern Front, the food shortages, and the collapse of morale, the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917 might never succeed. Instead, Russia could have followed a path of gradual reform, perhaps evolving into a constitutional monarchy similar to Britain, or experiencing a different, less radical revolution. The specter of Lenin and his brand of communism remains confined to the fringes of political theory. The Soviet Union, as we know, it is never born. The consequences ripple outward, redrawing the future. Most profoundly, a second, even more devastating, world war is averted. World War II, in our history, was a direct consequence of the first. It was born from the bitter resentments of the Treaty of Versailles, which crippled Germany with war guilt and impossible reparations. It was fueled by the economic despair of the Great Depression, which the war had helped create. In this alternate timeline, there is no Versailles. There is no stab-in-the-back myth for extremists to exploit. There is no Adolf Hitler rising from the ashes of a defeated Germany to seize power. Fascism, as a political force fed by national humiliation and chaos, fails to ignite across Europe. The ideological landscape of the mid-20th century is not a battleground between democracy, communism, and fascism. It is a far more complex tapestry of evolving monarchies, colonial empires, and cautious republics. This new century unfolds at a different pace. Technology, for instance, develops along a different track. The frantic life-or-death innovation driven by total war, the rapid advancement of aircraft, tanks, submarines, and rocketry is significantly slower. Aviation becomes more commercial, less military. Computing might still emerge, but its development isn't accelerated by the urgent need for code breaking and ballistics calculations. And most critically, the Manhattan Project never happens. Without the existential fear of a Nazi atomic bomb, the theoretical physics of the 1930s remains just the theory. A world without Hiroshima and Nagasaki is a world without the nuclear shadow, without the doctrine of mutually assured destruction that would define the Cold War. The United States, never drawn into a European conflict to make the world safe for democracy, likely maintains its traditional isolationist stance for much longer. It remains a powerful economic giant, but not the global military superpower it became after 1945. Its cultural and political influence is less pervasive. The process of decolonization also changes. The Great War exhausted the European colonial powers, making it impossible for them to maintain their grip on vast overseas empires. Without that exhaustion, the process is delayed. Independence movements still grow, but they face stronger, more stable imperial centers. The path to freedom for nations in Africa and Asia might be slower, more negotiated, and perhaps less violent than the post-war struggles of our timeline. The borders drawn would be different, likely leading to a world map that is almost unrecognizable to us today. So we arrive in a speculative present, a 21st century that is both familiar and alien. Europe might be dominated by a powerful German federation, a reformed Danubian monarchy, and a stable Russian empire. Global power is more multipolar, with no single nation holding the kind of dominance America did. Globalization is a reality, driven by trade and technology, but perhaps it is a slower, more deliberate process, less disruptive than the one we have known. It's a world with fewer ideological extremes, but also one that is more conservative, more hierarchical. The revolutionary social changes of the 1960s, born from the ashes of 2 world wars, may never have occurred with the same intensity. We look back at this world that never was, this timeline of quiet evolution instead of violent revolution. The 20th century avoided its worst nightmares: the gas of Ypres, the firebombing of Dresden, the mushroom cloud over a desolate Pacific atoll. Hundreds of millions of lives were saved. An unimaginable ocean of grief and trauma never came to be. But in avoiding catastrophe, did this world also lose the desperate, painful catalysts for change? Did the pressures of war, for all their horror, also accelerate progress, social justice, and the birth of a new global consciousness? We are left with an unanswerable question. Did humanity, by missing its darkest hour, also miss its chance to be truly reborn? Thanks for watching. If you enjoy exploring the great what if history, consider subscribing and joining our journey into the worlds that might have been.